The minions, they're harmless. They're harmless. They're harmless. God damn it. Hey now, what is up everybody? My name is Mike Brown, aka Review King MB, and I already regret the words that I used in my previous Despicable Me reviews about the Minions, because of course the popularity of the Minions was so high, so vast, that I'm sure people were craving, they were chanting, they were begging the studio to make a spin-off film with the Minions. Fuck them. Fuck their crops. Unless you're giving me some food, I don't give a fuck. I just don't give a fuck. How? Because I knew that the Minions movies existed. But I was wondering, how are they going to make those characters who don't say real words, they just sort of say sounds, and they're loud and annoying and clumsy and just really silly. How are we going to center a movie around them? How are they going to be the main characters? I have watched Minions from 2015, and I am going to say that I still don't know how in the blue hell they did it, because it definitely did not work. God damn it. Now, I know that there are some people who still enjoy this film, and maybe it's just me being an old, just grumpy piece of crap dude that can't shut his brain off, even though there's been plenty of other examples of movies that I have done that with. This is just goofy and silly and dumbed down because it's a, quote, kids movie, just for the sake of that. You know, there's no real inspiration or no real good ideas going on here. Let's go through the plot. So at the very beginning, they established the backstory of the Minions, and that the Minions are a group, a race, fucking... Are they creatures? Are they animals? I still don't really know. But they have been around since the prehistoric age. I'm talking about they were around when dinosaurs were around. How they survived asteroids hitting the planet and wiping out the dinosaurs, but yet they still exist. In fact, the same like 2 or 3 minions that are the main characters here were around back then. So not only are they immortal, but I guess they can't be killed either because they survived fucking the end of the world. So that's great. That's good to know. Let's see if anything ever comes in later films about them being immortal. I'm sure that's an important plot point to come later. And then we get a narrator. The narrator is Jeffrey Rush. And I figured doing the narration has to make the most sense because these characters don't talk. They just, as you know, they just make sounds. And how are we supposed to know what they're thinking and feeling? How are we supposed to know what's really going on story-wise without a narration? So, of course, you have that. It only made me sit there and think they did not think this through. They did not. This decision for a narrator probably came very late in the game. And the whole purpose of Minions is to be followers, and it's in their name, minions to a big bad villain, to like an alpha villain. And okay, fine, that's their purpose, but like, why? You know, like, why do they want to be henchmen to villains and bad guys? I mean, they show that they have been minions for various different people or various different villains over the years, even a T-Rex, for God's sake. I was almost wondering for a part where they reveal that the Minions have been working for Hitler back in the day. I mean, let's be real. It would make sense that they would want to align with him, right? Like, what villainry are we talking about? How far of a villain do they go with? Are there villains that are too much? Is killing off the line, but we can blow stuff up, or is it only stealing? Again, I'm asking a lot of questions. If I enjoyed the movie, I would not care or ask any of these questions. This would not be things that I would have been thinking or wanting the film to address, because it wouldn't have mattered. I would have been laughing and enjoying myself. But because I didn't enjoy myself, because I didn't laugh once, not one time did I laugh, all these things came through my head. Now, the person who does the voices for the Minions, yes, they actually have a real live person doing these sounds and noises, is Pierre Coffin. I think he also directed this Minions movie. All right. Sure. He's a person that was paid for this. And that's about as nice as I'm going to keep it. Let's talk about the other cast, because I think this is where we can probably have some more fun in this review. Sandra Bullock, thank God. Sandra Bullock is in this movie as Scarlet Overkill. She's the villain that the Minions instantly gravitate to because she's sort of on the market looking for henchmen, and of course she fits the bill, and I liked her. I instantly recognized her voice, and so I thought, okay, I'm surprised she said yes to this. But still, it was nice to hear her. It was nice to kind of have her be a little cheesy, a little goofy. And her husband in the movie, Herb, is voiced by John Hamm, who I would not have guessed that was his voice. It sounded nothing like him. So I am going to take Wikipedia for their word. Also in the cast, and I didn't catch any of these voices either, just from my ear, Michael Keaton, which I feel like I know his voice. Maybe he put on a goofy voice on purpose. Allison Janney, Steve Coogan. Again, sure. They were in this movie. Also, you have a plot point in this film where one of the Minions, Bob is his name, he somehow becomes the King of England. And that's where I said, all right, this is what we're going to be doing. This is the kind of film that they're making. And there you go. A bunch of other silly stuff happens. Sandra Bullock tricks them in order to become the Queen of England herself. And she tries to imprison them or put them in a dungeon, and they have to go against her. And that's where I started to ask my questions of like, okay, so Sandra Bullock's character, I guess, is too much of a villain for them? As I said, I just did not care for this movie. I was not into this movie. I found myself bored and daydreaming, sort of zoning out as a bunch of silly noises and silly sounds were happening on screen. Maybe I can say that the animation is what it is. Like, if you like the Despicable Me movies, and you know what, the first two I did. Fits that tone, that style of animation, so I guess that's somewhat positive. The very end of this movie might qualify as a spoiler. Oops. But when we get young Gru, Steve Carell's character, you see how the Minions met him or first came into contact with him. And I know that they made a sequel to the Minions called The Rise of Gru, so maybe that movie continues on from that. And if that's the case, if we get more young Gru in that film, that sounds way more appealing. This, for me, was a big waste of time. And I can't say that I would recommend this. I mean, if you're watching these movies for the first time along with me, I would say skip this entirely. Oi, my patience tested a lot right now. I'm going to move on. I'm going to try to enjoy the rest of my day. Thank you guys for watching. Let me know in the comments below, what do you think of Minions? Maybe you enjoy it! And if you do, please tell me how and why. Please. Like, comment, subscribe. Later!